What's going on, guys? It's Greg here, aka NYPrepper. It is Friday, January 24th, 2025, and I have an emergency alert to share with you guys. Right now it is 14:21 Eastern Time here in the United States, and we have some major breaking news coming in from Eastern Europe. So what you're looking at here is video footage of the Russian President Vladimir Putin being rushed to the Kremlin late last night. This happened at around midnight in Moscow, and Ukraine launched one of the largest drone attacks on Russia since the start of the war last night, and that was right before Putin got rushed to the Kremlin. Russia's Ministry of Defense said that they shot down over 120 drones launched from Ukraine. And Ukraine confirmed that they did hit a major oil refinery in Ryazan in Russia, and they also hit a major bomber base in Russia as well with their drones called Diaghilevo. There were numerous Russian airports closed yesterday because of this drone attack. So this is very, very serious, guys. And yesterday we had a lot of U.S. nuclear forces activity. There was a Doomsday plane that got scrambled yesterday afternoon, and at the same time there was a lot of nuclear attack options being broadcasted. Well, today we also have nuclear forces in the U.S. on very high alert. For some reason we have two nuke sniffer planes airborne. One is flying over New Mexico right now. One is flying over Missouri. We also have a presidential Doomsday plane that just took off from Wright-Patterson Air Force Base, which is like the Area 51 of the East. And these Doomsday planes are for the president. That's where the president would go during a nuclear war. He could command the entire U.S. nuclear arsenal from the air on board one of these planes. And we also have a nuclear war command and control plane up in the air. These planes are responsible for communicating with our submerged nuclear armed submarines, and they can also launch our Minuteman III ICBMs from the air. We also have a B-52 nuclear bomber airborne over Kansas right now. And in addition to all these planes, there's also been a lot of nuclear attack options being broadcasted to U.S. nuclear forces by Strategic Command. Okay, these are known as emergency action messages. There's been a lot of them. The B-52 over Kansas right now is actually getting aerially refueled, which is very unusual to have a B-52 getting aerially refueled over the continental United States, plus a Doomsday plane, plus two nuke sniffers, guys. That is crazy. And we also have a lot of sub-hunters off the coast of Florida. So something must be off the coast of Florida for there to be two sub-hunters here looping. And then here we have a Russian missile detecting and tracking plane that flew to the Caspian Sea. This is very concerning because if Russia is planning another ICBM or IRBM strike on Ukraine, they would need to track the missile's trajectory if they're going to try to learn from the launch and try to adjust and fine-tune their missile. They need to track the trajectory, see how fast it goes and things like that. All of the technical details related to the launch have to be tracked. And the best way to do that is with a plane that's right in the same area. Okay, Kapustin Yar, which is where Russia launched the first IRBM at Ukraine from, is right next to the Caspian Sea. Okay, so this plane went down to the Caspian Sea area. This is an Ilyushin 76 Skip. Okay, this is a Russian version of the Cobra Ball, which is a special plane that the U.S. has to detect and track missiles, okay, in the air. So this is a sign that Russia is planning to use their Oreshniks again. And there was also numerous Russian Doomsday planes that were scrambled to Siberia last night. Here we have one of them that went to Novosibirsk, and it did 2 loops here just west of Novosibirsk, and then it landed in Chelyabinsk. There's a lot of secret bunkers and facilities near Chelyabinsk. And then here you can see a variety of Russian airborne command post planes that were airborne last night, many of them going east to Siberia. And then also there was a U.S. Army high priority transport plane that went from Hungary to Latvia. Okay, these planes typically carry U.S. military generals. Okay, so some kind of U.S. military VIPs were moved from Hungary to Latvia. And we also had half a dozen aerial refuelers leave the continental United States and cross the Atlantic and go to Ramstein Air Base. This is a huge sign that the U.S. and NATO are preparing for an escalation, okay? Moving 6 aerial refuelers to Germany in the middle of the night, just hours after this massive Ukrainian drone strike on Russia, and right after Putin gets rushed to the Kremlin at midnight. So something is going on, guys. And this update was sponsored by NYPrepper Supply. Guys, NYPrepper Supply is doing a massive sale on their 3-month emergency food supply. And to get the deal, you got to go to preparewithnyprepper.com, and the link is in the description below this video. They're selling their 3-month emergency food supply for just $600. So that's $100 off the normal price. And this is 3 months of food at 2,000 calories per day. Has a shelf life of up to 25 years, and all of this is packed into 6 rugged water-resistant buckets, and free shipping is included. And they're also offering a disaster replacement warranty, so if your food supply gets destroyed by a natural disaster, they'll replace it for you with no charge. And they also will provide you with free survival books and information, including a natural disaster field guide, a survival Bible digital copy. So use the link preparewithnyprepper.com to get $100 off the NYPrepper Supply 3-month emergency food supply, and the link is in the description below this video. And we also had a lot of reconnaissance in Poland and the Baltics last night. Here we have a U.S. recon plane patrolling northern and eastern Poland along the border of Russia and Belarus. And then we had a Swedish recon plane also in Poland, and a NATO AWACS plane in Poland as well. And some very concerning flights out of Asia last night. We had this Chinese recon drone in the Yellow Sea that was patrolling the coast of South Korea. It was flying north to south, which means it was looking east to west because they have side-looking scanners. And so it was looking at the coast of South Korea. And then at the same time as the Chinese recon drone was looking at the western shore of South Korea, we had a high priority recon plane up in the air in South Korea, a U.S. combat scent. Okay, the U.S. only has 2 of these planes. If one of them is airborne, it means something serious is going on. They send intelligence directly to the president and the Joint Chiefs and the Defense Secretary. So one of these planes was flying along the border with North Korea. Very, very concerning. And then we also had a sub-hunter flying around Taiwan. And then there was a Chinese recon plane patrolling the Chinese coast along the Taiwan Strait. And Putin is apparently ready to talk to Trump. We are waiting for signals from the United States, Dmitry Peskov said. That's the spokesman for the Kremlin. Interestingly, today, Putin said that if there was a different election outcome in 2020, then the Ukraine war may not have happened. So I don't know if Putin is trying to kiss Trump's butt after Trump basically ripped him apart. So I don't know if Putin is trying to kiss Trump's butt now. Maybe he's scared, I don't know. But Trump insulted Putin badly on Monday and threatened to put more sanctions and give more weapons to Ukraine if Putin does not negotiate a deal of some kind. And the former Russian Defense Minister Sergei Shoigu warned that the risk of an armed clash between nuclear powers is growing. Okay, so he said that yesterday. And deploying a NATO peacekeeping contingent to Ukraine in the event of a ceasefire in the war with Russia could lead to uncontrolled escalation, Russian Foreign Ministry spokesperson Maria Zakharova said on January 23rd, yesterday, during a press briefing. The statement comes amid discussions about a possible deployment of European soldiers to Ukraine to monitor a future ceasefire deal. Zakharova also mentioned recent statements by British Prime Minister Keir Starmer and German Defense Minister Boris Pistorius that their countries could provide troops for a peacekeeping mission in Ukraine. The intervention of NATO troops in Ukraine is categorically unacceptable for Russia. It will turn into uncontrolled escalation, she said. So, very interesting. The Foreign Ministry spokeswoman, Maria Zakharova, basically saying Russia does not want any NATO peacekeeping troops in Ukraine as part of a ceasefire deal. And Poland created a new counterintelligence office in Rzeszów, in the southeastern city in Poland, where all of the NATO weapons flow through to Ukraine due to apparently an increase in threats. And Bloomberg is saying that the Trump administration is ready to provide Ukraine with security guarantees if a peace deal is made. And Trump's special envoy to Ukraine, Keith Kellogg, said NATO cannot be expanded if countries don't keep their pledges. Talk of Ukraine joining NATO is inappropriate at this time. And Trump said in his interview with Sean Hannity that Zelensky informed him that he is ready to sign a deal and wants to meet with Putin. And Belarus has started training reserves across their entire country with specifically classes on medical skills and the use of gas masks. What's interesting is a lot of these reserves are being trained in Grudno, which is a city in northwest Belarus, right next to the Suwałki Gap, which is that little piece of land between Kaliningrad and Belarus that everybody is afraid Russia could try to take to cut off the Baltics and make a land bridge to Kaliningrad. So Belarus is now training all of their reserves across their entire country and specifically in Grudno. And North Korea is presumed to be accelerating preparations for the additional deployment of troops to Russia while continuing to push for potential launches of a spy satellite or an ICBM, South Korea's military said on Friday. And Trump said in an interview with Sean Hannity that Russia stole the design of hypersonic missiles from the U.S. during the Obama administration and that the U.S. is now working on a super hypersonic missile. And Trump signed an executive order yesterday to officially declassify secret files related to the assassinations of former President JFK, RFK, and Martin Luther King Jr., and an American hiker was shot twice and robbed by suspected cartel members near the San Diego-Mexico border. The incident occurred on Wednesday, leading to an immediate response from U.S. Customs and Border Protection agents. The injured hiker was airlifted for medical treatment. And U.S. Secretary of State Marco Rubio has reaffirmed Washington's commitment to Manila and condemned Beijing for its dangerous and destabilizing actions in the South China Sea. In his first phone call with Philippine Foreign Secretary Enrique Manalo, Rubio underscored the U.S.'s ironclad commitments to the Philippines under our Mutual Defense Treaty, State Department spokeswoman Tammy Bruce said. In the phone call on Wednesday, they discussed issues of mutual concern, including China's dangerous and destabilizing actions in the South China Sea, she said, adding that Rubio conveyed that Beijing's behavior undermines regional peace and stability and is inconsistent with international law. And I want to update you guys on the wildfire situation in Southern California. So we have this huge fire that is well over 10,000 acres now, and the mandatory evacuation zone has expanded. As you can see here on this map, all the areas shaded in red represent mandatory evacuation zones, and this is a huge area. You're talking maybe 20 to 30 miles across. And what I found very interesting is that this huge fire is just to the west of some very, very important military bases. We have Edwards Air Force Base not too far from this fire, okay, over here near this dry lake bed, and then also in Palmdale. There's an airport there that's used by U.S. nuclear and strategic forces. Edwards Air Force Base, part of our strategic forces. So this fire basically creates a massive plume of smoke to the west of these very important air bases, okay, Edwards and Palmdale. So now the U.S. Air Force is going to have to fly around this fire. So that limits a lot of the Air Force's activities here in this direction, okay? Specifically missile defenses and using radars if they're looking west towards the ocean and they have this huge fire and plume of smoke in front of them. It's going to affect their early warning systems as well. And we also had a lot of reconnaissance in the Middle East the last 2 days. Here you can see some recon drones and sub-hunters in the Persian Gulf patrolling the coast of Iran and the coast of Lebanon and Syria. But that's the latest breaking news that I have. I will be back later on tonight with some more breaking news, and tune into my 24/7 live stream for regular updates throughout the rest of the day. We have the EAMs going crazy this afternoon. The nuclear forces are broadcasting, so you can listen to them live in my stream and get regular updates from my excellent moderators, especially Ross Niederman. So until later on, take care, God bless, and don't forget the 3 Ps: prepare, practice, and persevere.